Golden State Media Concepts social media podcast. Time to hashtag everything. We talk about all the fun, crazy stories on social media, from Instagram to Facebook, Twitter to Tumblr, or probably even Friendster. Join us each week as we explore the quirky side of social media. It's the Golden State Media Concepts social media podcast.
It's simple, such a sad song. The one that we rely on to get us.
Hello, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of the GSMC Social Media News Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Shamaria Jackson. In today's episode, we're going to be talking everything about the accomplishments that Facebook will be doing, as well as two influential ladies on television that are sparking controversial news, and arrest warrants going out for two NFL players. All of that coming up in today's social media news. Stay tuned. All right, guys, first starting off with our very first segment for today's social media news, I wanted to talk about Facebook. Now, Facebook is about to make some huge changes, and it's already made history technically. So what I'm first going to start off with is the fact that Facebook has bought the GIF company Jiffy, and it plans to integrate it with Instagram. Yes, you have heard me right. Now, if you are on Instagram as much as I am, or if you're on Twitter as much as I am, you already know that people use Jiffy to kind of express themselves in some kind of way. But what Facebook is planning on doing is having your thoughts, your emotions, your expressions, your feelings more out on the platform. So they're willing to give you more GIFs to express yourself. Now, quick side note, I really don't know if I'm saying it right. Is it pronounced GIF or is it pronounced GIF? So like my brother says GIF, but I say GIF. And then we end up getting into like this huge like family discussion that lasts hours because we feel like one of us is right and one of us is wrong. So maybe like both of us, in a sense, maybe both of us could be right. Who knows? Who knows? So anyway, back to the subject at hand. According to CSNB, citing Access, Facebook has purchased the GIF company Jiffy for $400 million and will now work towards integrating that massive library with Instagram. Facebook made the big announcement this Friday that it is acquiring the animated picture platform. Facebook explained that they want to integrate Jiffy into the Instagram app by stating, quote, so that people can find just the right way to express themselves, end quote. Now, Facebook has used Jiffy's API on Instagram, the Facebook app, and WhatsApp, as well as other social media platforms. However, the social media giant now plans to further integrate its library of animated pictures into the Instagram experience. Many Instagram users have been encouraging Instagram to fully implement this feature on the platform for years, and it looks like they will finally get what they want. As many know, companies like Slack and Twitter have built Jiffy into their apps. Even Apple uses Jiffy images for its GIF feature in iMessage. But as of right now, it is unclear if Facebook will use those same relationships to keep Jiffy primarily on Facebook's app. Meanwhile, Instagram did say in a tweet that third parties will stand to be allowed to use Giphy images. Instagram stated, quote, people will still be able to upload GIFs. Developers and API partners will continue to have the same access to Giphy's APIs, and Giphy's creative community will still be able to create great content, end quote. Further details on the integration has not been shared yet, but until then, let us know your thoughts on this in the comment section. So what are my thoughts on this whole thing? I think it's really cool, about the fact that now Facebook has developed and they've turned into such this big social media platform that, they've already bought out Instagram, and now they've bought out bought out Giphy, or they have bought out Giphy. And you can just see that they're expanding in so many different ways. I know for a little bit, people were starting to think that Facebook was going to be the new MySpace, meaning it was going to soon become something unknown, something that people will kind of drift away from. So we can really see, how far Facebook has come. Now, as far as the Giphy or GIF or GIF or however you want to say it, so if I can't express how I'm feeling through text, I'll just send them a GIF, or however you want to call it. I'll just send them that just to express how I am feeling. And, a lot of thought, or not really a lot of thought, goes into these GIFs, which makes it even more perfect. So you can send someone something without really thinking about it. So it could be like your favorite show, your favorite movie, an expression from that favorite show or that favorite movie, and then they can go from there. Sometimes people take text out of content. So if you're trying to say something and it's coming off rude or demeaning, you can send them a GIF and they're like, oh, okay, now I know what you're trying to say. It just makes your point get across a lot clearer. And I think that is another strategic move that Facebook has decided to do. They were like, you know what? Let's buy out this company, because we've noticed how many people use these things and how many people on social media, how many people do these things through text. So it's very strategic. And I think with that, that's going to end up helping Facebook even more. So with that being said, that is the end of our very first segment. Coming up after the break, we're going to talk about how Facebook is the new go-to social media platform for news, especially during this COVID-19. All of that coming up right after this break. Stay tuned.
You really can't underestimate the importance of having the right creative work for your brand or your product. Whether it's a logo, a website, a book cover, or an ad campaign, you really need a quality design to make that big difference pop and deliver your overall engagement and success in a competitive market. That's where Design Crowd comes in. Design Crowd has over 750,000 designers from Sydney to San Francisco, ready to help you with awesome creative ideas. They make crowdsourcing work for you. So if you need a logo or you're working on your creative branding, you can go to designcrowd.com and post a brief describing the design you need. And then within about 2 to 7 days, you'll receive up to over 100 different designs from designers around the world. Then you pick the best design and approve payment to the designer. So you're only paying for the design that you want. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of freelancing and out of crowdsourcing. And you don't have to be a huge company like Harvard Business School to use Design Crowd, although they have used it as well. You can start a project on Design Crowd for as little as $99. And if you go right now to designcrowd.com/health and wellness or enter the promo code health and wellness on their website, then our health and wellness listeners will receive up to $150 off of your design project. That's designcrowd.com/health and wellness or entering that promo code health and wellness.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast, dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
Hey guys, welcome back. So before that break, we were talking about Facebook and how it has bought out Jiffy and its plans to integrate those GIFs or GIFs, however you want to call it, on Instagram. So for right now, I wanted to talk a little bit more about Facebook. And I also hinted with you guys that Facebook has kind of made history in something, and also why it's becoming so big. So first off, Facebook is now the go-to social media platform for news during the COVID-19 outbreak. So a number of people are relying on social media to keep informed about the latest developments on COVID-19. The number of people relying on social media to keep informed about the latest developments on COVID-19 has significantly increased. A study from Flickr revealed that Facebook is the most popular platform, followed by Twitter and YouTube, for COVID-19 news. While the crisis has kept a lot of people quarantined, it is safe to say that it's been instrumental in helping improve the situation. As for misinformation and fear-mongering, the social networks are doing their part by creating news tools to tackle fake news and conspiracy theories. So for me personally, I've had mixed kind of reviews about this. So I've had people on my Facebook tell me a bunch of fake news and, trying to have them find sources like, okay, well, how do you know this is real? Where does this source lead you? What news source did you go to actually, get this kind of news? Just for them to argue with me, and then it turns out that I'm right, regular Facebook stuff. And then, a lot of people are actually informed by actual legit news stories, stories that will affect them, such as the stimulus checks, such as, if their job is going to be back in business anytime soon, if schools will decide to reopen, if schools are going to be year around, or if, they're going to be opening their schools earlier, closing their schools earlier, different actual news stories like this that may affect a certain household. And because of that, a lot of people are on Facebook because of it. Now, keep in mind, for me personally, whenever I get on Facebook, it's to see my family. Okay, so I have a lot of people in my family that are looking out for everyone. Okay, so they want to make sure that their family members are okay. So they're doing their part into sharing what they have learned about the coronavirus. Now, keep in mind, because a lot of them are so worried about everything going on, sometimes they do catch on to these, quote, fake news and conspiracy theories that's going on. And although sometimes, some of these conspiracy theories sound interesting, they are in fact just conspiracy theories, so they could be wrong. Those are just different feelings or conclusions that people have come up with. So just finding ways to tackle that, I feel like, is great as well. Now on Twitter, Social Media Today tweeted out, quote, "Where are you getting news from during COVID-19?" End quote. And they actually had a poll. It was Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Reddit, and others. So Facebook came out with 35.8%, followed by Twitter with 17%, YouTube with 16.3%, Reddit with 12.4%, and other turned out to be 12.7%. And all the way at the bottom was I don't use social media, which was 5.8%. Which I thought was kind of funny. Like, if you don't use social media, then how did you take this poll? So, okay. But also, I wanted to talk about Facebook hosting virtual graduation events for the class of 2020. So when I graduated from school, it was a very big event. My family was there. Everyone was clapping. Everyone was cheering. I was taking pictures. It was awesome. It was great. And a few of my family members, usually my grandma or my great aunt, they couldn't make it because they're a lot older. They just don't want to deal with a lot of crowds. They were congratulating me, but they were just not here for it. But it's kind of sad because this class of 2020, they were waiting, this whole time for them to experience something as significant as walking across the stage. For some of them, this is a first time in their family. So they might be a first generation grad, or they've worked so hard to get there. Many times they don't believe that they could even get to this step. And many of them have to miss out on walking across the stage. So a lot of people are feeling a little upset about this, but Facebook has done its part to help ensure these people that their accomplishment will not be overlooked. But thanks to Facebook, the class of 2020 gets a virtual graduation event with Oprah Winfrey. Oprah. And she is going to be the commencement speaker. It may not be the day they had imagined, but our graduates can still look forward to special events on Facebook and Instagram. So what I like about this, once again, is the fact that your accomplishment is not going to be overlooked. This is still a big accomplishment, even for people who didn't think this day was ever going to come. For those people who thought, you know what, I'm just going to throw in the towel. I'm just over this. Or maybe for people that have stayed up late, worked hard, worked 2-3 jobs just to get to this accomplishment, this end goal, okay? They knew that an obstacle was in the way and they did not let this hinder them. So they worked hard for this. And so I think Facebook is just saying, you know what? We know you've worked hard. We know that, this is a huge curveball that no one has ever seen coming. But they're willing to do this to bring awareness, to put the spotlight back on you, and to say congratulations. And with that being said, this is the end of this second segment. I wanted to personally say congratulations to all of the graduating class of 2020. This is an amazing goal for everyone, and I'm just so happy for you guys. So don't let this small, kind of big curveball get in your way of celebrating you. Go out, celebrate. Well, don't go out. Grab some stuff, order some stuff in, social distance yourself, but party, be happy for yourself, and really put yourself on that pedestal because you worked hard for it, okay? Give yourself a huge pat on the back. Go have a nice spa day, and you have deserved it. So with that being said, that is the end of this second segment. Once again, in this next segment, I wanted to talk about Oprah Winfrey again and Ellen DeGeneres, two powerhouse women that has ruled the television station for such a long time. But unfortunately, those two women are under hot water for a lot of different reasons. So with that being said, we're going to find out what that hot water is when we come back right after this break. Stay tuned.
You really can't underestimate the importance of having the right creative work for your brand or your product. Whether it's a logo, a website, a book cover, or an ad campaign, you really need a quality design to make that big difference pop and deliver your overall engagement and success in a competitive market. That's where Design Crowd comes in. Design Crowd has over 750,000 designers from Sydney to San Francisco ready to help you with awesome creative ideas. They make crowdsourcing work for you. So if you need a logo or you're working on your creative branding, you can go to designcrowd.com and post a brief describing the design you need. And then within about 2 to 7 days, you'll receive up to over 100 different designs from designers around the world. Then you pick the best design and approve payment to the designer. So you're only paying for the design that you want. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of freelancing and out of crowdsourcing. And you don't have to be a huge company like Harvard Business School to use Design Crowd, although they have used it as well. You can start a project on Design Crowd for as little as $99. And if you go right now to designcrowd.com/health and wellness or enter the promo code health and wellness on their website, then our health and wellness listeners will receive up to $150 off of your design project. That's designcrowd.com/health and wellness or entering that promo code health and wellness.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Hey guys, welcome back. So before that break, we were talking about Facebook being the new go-to social media platform for news during this COVID-19 pandemic. And we also talked about how Facebook will host all of the 2020 graduations, or most of the graduations. We talked about how Oprah Winfrey is going to be the commencement speaker for the virtual graduation. However, Oprah Winfrey has not been painted in the best light as of late. Ellen DeGeneres and Oprah Winfrey have been one of the most influential powerhouses of TV personnel, period. Among TV talk show hosts for a very long time, mostly with Oprah Winfrey being the blueprint. These two women have opened up doors for everyone. For Oprah, it's been for a woman of color to other women, but specifically for women of color. Ellen DeGeneres has opened up doors for women in general, but women who represent the LGBT plus community. So first I wanted to talk about Ellen DeGeneres, and then we'll go into the heart of our conversation, which is Oprah Winfrey. So Ellen DeGeneres has long been known for her funny antics and her generous heart. She has been in the comedy scene since the late 1970s, but by the mid-80s, Ellen was making a name for herself as a stand-up comedian and even had her own sitcom that was named after her in the 90s. Sadly, in 1997, her sitcom was canceled after she went public with the fact that she is gay. However, she did not let the cancellation of her show keep her down. For almost 2 decades now, Ellen has been dancing her way into America's hearts and making them laugh every day on her daytime show, The Ellen DeGeneres Show. Ever since this pandemic has officially begun, it took about end of March, early April, that there has been a string of accusations that states that Ellen DeGeneres is a not-so-kind person behind the scenes of her hit show. In an exclusive report with US Weekly, a source informed that first the host, quote, thought this was all just sour grapes from a few haters, but it's not a passing thing. The hits just keep coming, end quote. The source also claims that DeGeneres is at the end of her rope. Speculations began after YouTuber Nikki Tutorials describes DeGeneres as cold and distant. The YouTuber appeared as a guest on the show in January and discussed her unpleasant interactions. That same month, the host received criticism for joking on air that quarantining in her $27 million mansion was like being in jail. According to Fox News, Ellen DeGeneres has also left her staff in the dark by failing to communicate the status of their jobs and pay amid the coronavirus pandemic. A rep on her behalf did not immediately return to Fox News' request for comment. Adding insult to injury, the bodyguard, Tom Medjicek, supported accusations of the comedian's rude behavior. In an interview with Fox News, he branded the host as sly and demeaning after protecting her for the 2014 Oscars. According to the brand expert Eric Schriff, the recent report on her rude behavior is like rat poison to her brand. Ellen DeGeneres is known for her happy to give to others ways and celebrity friends, but regardless of her attempts to save face, Schriff believes her ratings may suffer, especially since she has failed to issue a public apology. As for now, US Weekly reports her ratings continue to soar, which indicates the backlash has not affected her show. So what do I think about this situation before I move on to Oprah's situation? I think that this is a terrible turn of events, and what I mean by that is sometimes people act like they're in your corner. Sometimes people act like they have your best judgment at hand. And in reality, they really don't. They're looking for a handout, or they're looking for something that you can do for them. Okay? And I feel in this situation, I feel like the bodyguard, as well as whoever this source may be, I feel like they're looking out for themselves. And maybe they wanted Ellen DeGeneres to do something for them, and, things just didn't turn out as they wanted. Also, what we have witnessed here is that we have witnessed a celebrity being a human. I think many people forget that celebrities are human. They're normal people like everyone else, except, they're a little bit more popular. Okay? And that's it. So everyone has those days where they just don't feel like being with people. Sometimes things aren't going right for them. Sometimes they've just had a bad day. And unfortunately, they do the normal human thing, which is let out their anger toward the next human being, okay, just to release some steam. Now, is that the best thing to do? No, but she is human, and I just don't see Ellen DeGeneres doing something like this. Now, going into the YouTuber, I've mentioned this before on my YouTube page. A lot of these YouTubers think that they are a certain type of celebrity. They're thinking they're some type of A-list celebrity and that they can go on and everything is about them, not keeping in mind that only a few people know them. So yes, they might have 1 million subscribers, but If YouTube goes away today, what else will you be known for? What else have you done except, do makeup tutorials or any type of tutorials on YouTube? Like, what else is there? So I think a lot of them get all mixed into the fact that, oh, I have 1 million subscribers. I have 2 million subscribers. I have 3 million subscribers. Okay, that's great. What else is there? I forget that. And then sometimes you can't dictate your life on other people's perspectives. So am I saying that Nikki Tutorials is wrong for thinking, oh, I'm going to go to the Ellen DeGeneres show and this is the perspective that I feel is going to happen? And she just had her hopes let down because she wanted things to be in a certain way and it just wasn't. So again, maybe Nikki Tutorials came to the Ellen DeGeneres show on an off day. Maybe it's not usually cold and distant like that on an everyday basis. Maybe someone was having an off day. Whether it was the intern, it was Ellen, it was someone else. Maybe someone had an off day and unfortunately that was just what Nikki Tutorials had to deal with. But do I feel like Ellen DeGeneres is a bad person? No, I just feel like she just had a bad day. Or maybe she just is a very sad person that uses comedy over, some of the events that's gone on in her life. And comedy has been something that has helped her throughout life. So I don't know. Also keep in mind that, these are very sad events and maybe her being at home is really sad for her. There are a lot of people who have all of the money in the world and they are not happy. So maybe her making that little joke about being quarantined in her $24 million home, but not being happy in her home is, the sad reality. So she might have a big home, but she could be sad. Whereas you can have a small home and be with people who you love and be in a situation where you're like, you know what, I'm blessed, I'm thankful, and I'm happy. Keep that in mind. So am I going to hold Ellen DeGeneres' feet to the fire for saying that? No. It's just some people are sensitive, unfortunately. But now I'm going to move on to Oprah. Now, Oprah, she is the biggest influence of TV host history. She has earned that rank by being on TV for 25 consecutive seasons and winning every sweep since its debut in 1986. Without Oprah Winfrey, one could say there would not be an Ellen DeGeneres show, there would not be The View, there would not be The Real. Oprah Winfrey was technically the blueprint for all of this. She's even lasted through that time where everybody wanted to be a TV host, but they weren't quite making that same authentic feel that the Oprah Winfrey show had. So why is Oprah Winfrey in hot water? What could Oprah Winfrey have done? I mean, Oprah Winfrey, what could she have done? Well, Oprah Winfrey is responding to allegations that she was a part of a sex trafficking and a child pornography ring. Back in March, around the time Tom Hanks announced he'd had the coronavirus, a slew of rumors began circulating that the Queen of Talk Show was involved in sex trafficking and child porn. The rumor came about after people claimed Hanks only revealed his COVID-19 diagnosis so that he wouldn't have to go to jail for being a part of the alleged sex ring that Oprah Winfrey was also a part of, allegedly. So I'm going to stop here, okay? So really quick, remember when I told you in the first section that a lot of people were using their conspiracy theories and saying that this is real news? Like, these are kind of like the way off news that people don't even think about, okay? And all of a sudden, these random news events or random things that they might catch and they're like, well, this is a conspiracy theory that I have. But instead of saying it's a conspiracy theory, they're saying it's news. So now this is fake news that is going around ruining people's reputations at hand. But let me go on and continue. In addition, some people claim Harvey Weinstein was the one who told media and authorities about the alleged crimes from inside of his prison. Gossip reports that people believe Weinstein has a list of celebrities that are allegedly connected to the operation. The scandalous accusation bumped Winfrey to the #1 trending topic on Twitter, which promoted Auntie O to set things straight by saying, quote, "Just got a phone call that my name is trending and being trolled for some awful fake thing. It's not true. Haven't been raided or arrested, just sanitizing and self-distancing with the rest of the world. Stay safe, everybody." End quote. In her latest issue of O, the Oprah magazine, Oprah Winfrey went more into detail about feeling shocked about the claims. She stated, quote, "Imagine sitting cozily in your bed when you get a phone call telling you you're trending on Twitter, and you discover it's a bogus and vile story that you were arrested and your home was raided for sex trafficking and child pornography. I can't and don't want to imagine an uglier accusation. At first, I was confused. Yes, that's my name, Oprah. But I'm in bed, in my pajamas and socks, and somehow hashtag Oprah arrested is a thing. My worst fear realized, being slandered, accused of a crime I didn't commit." End quote. Despite her majority popularity in media, Oprah Winfrey says she's never gotten used to seeing her name in false headlines. For instance, in 1988, I pulled a wagon carrying 67 pounds of fat on stage during what is still the highest rated Oprah show ever. From that day forward, I was exploited regularly with false, crude, inappropriate stories about me and food. And then about me and Stedman, and me and Gail. Anything and everything that could sell a tabloid. Every week, another lie to ignore or deny. I never got used to it. I always feared what the next false headline would be. Why? Because I knew for sure that a lot of people dismissed the stories. A lot of other people believed them. End quote. Regardless, Oprah Winfrey says she's taking the high road and staying positive. So again, that is what I mean about, looking at these conspiracy theories that are way out of the spectrum, that are way off of the ledge of different people and, how they behave. Now, given, a lot of people, they act different ways. So they have that face for TV, but then they have that face for behind the doors. But I just don't see Oprah in this kind of light. I really don't even see Tom Hanks in this light as well. But just the fact that someone would have this off-the-wall speculation about Oprah Winfrey is baffling and astonishing. And if Harvey Weinstein is the man that is behind these speculations, that is a crazy accusation as well. Because I'm not going to get into him being in jail and his own accusations on what he has done. But, I think that is so crazy. And I'm just so happy that Oprah Winfrey has spoken up about this and how it has affected her, because we tend to forget that celebrities are people too, and that these kind of speculations of hurting one's reputation really does hurt them mentally and emotionally, because sometimes their voice, is not heard. They're such a big person, they're such a big influence, but many times their voice is often shut off or muted because people either believe, these random speculations or they don't. And that is the sad reality of being a celebrity. So with that being said, that is the end of this segment. In this next segment, I wanted to talk about two high football players that are being arrested. You know, they have an arrest warrant out. And we're going to talk about these two NFL players right when we come back after this break. Stay tuned.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now, don't bother, what's hot on Netflix, and everything in between. That's GSMCpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Hey guys, welcome back. So before that break, we were talking about two influential women on TV who has made history for generations. The Oprah Winfrey Show and the Ellen DeGeneres Show, and how basically these two ladies were under hot water, and why they were under hot water was kind of baffling. But right now I wanted to switch subjects and talk about some guys that are under hot water for the craziest thing. So the NFL cornerbacks DeAndre Baker and Quinton Dunbar are wanted for armed robbery at a Florida party. Yes, you heard me right. Even though we're in a pandemic and we're ordered to stay at home to slow the spread of COVID-19, people are still managing to get out and do the craziest things. According to TMZ, NFL players DeAndre Baker and Quinton Dunbar are being accused of armed robbery. Authorities have confirmed that Baker is facing 4 charges of armed robbery as well as 4 charges of aggravated assault with a firearm. As for Dunbar, he's facing 4 counts of armed robbery. According to authorities, Dunbar and Baker attended a cookout on May 13th, when all of a sudden an argument broke out, causing Baker to pull out his semi-automatic firearm. From there, both Dunbar and Baker began to rob the guests in attendance at the cookout. Following Baker's directions, Dunbar began taking watches and other valuables. The cops also revealed that at one point during the incident, Baker told a third unidentified man with the disguise of a mask to shoot a guest that had just entered the party. However, no one was shot in the process. According to witnesses, partygoers had met Baker and Dunbar prior to the cookout at a party a few days earlier in Miami. Allegedly, Dunbar and Baker lost around $70,000 at the function due to gambling, including card games and other fun event games to place bets. So fast forwarding to May 13th's party, the players were again gambling when the argument took place, causing Baker to flip a table, and that's when the incident took place. What makes things even more suspicious is that after the 3 men were done robbing the partygoers, they exited in 3 getaway cars. Cops stated the cars, a Lamborghini, a BMW, and a Mercedes-Benz, were strategically placed to expedite an immediate departure. At this time, warrants have been issued for their arrest. However, no arrests have been made. Representatives for the Seattle Seahawks and New York Giants stars have been in contact with authorities who have told TMZ that they plan to surrender soon. So far, the Giants have released a statement on behalf of Baker's involvement in the crime. They stated, quote, "We are aware of the situation. We have been in contact with DeAndre. We have no further comment at this time," end quote. Dunbar was traded to the Seahawks in March. The team said it was, quote, "still gathering information." So what are my thoughts about this situation? I feel like I've mentioned this before on this podcast. I feel like as a man of color, the stakes are already pushed against you, especially in society. So you have a blessing. Okay. Not everyone is blessed with this kind of blessing. You have more money than anybody, that I know personally. Okay. You have this blessing, you have this talent, and instead of using it wisely, possibly to help your community or to help those that are less fortunate, you decide to gamble it away. Now, I understand this is your money. You can do whatever you want with your money, given that is true. But if you lost the first time to gambling, if the allegations are true, if you did lose $70,000 in the first game, why would you come back the second time to lose $70,000 again, possibly, allegedly, and then pull a gun out on these people? I don't understand. And then another thing that I have to question is the fact that I'm gonna acknowledge the elephant in the room. These are two grown men, okay? Two grown men. And sensing is the fact that, they are both on these high paying teams, which is the Seahawks and the New York Giants. I know they know how to think for themselves, okay? What I'm trying to figure out is, why did Dunbar follow Baker's directions? Why didn't he think of himself and say, you know what, you're doing too much? Was it peer pressure? It couldn't be peer pressure because you're a grown man. But then too, maybe it was peer pressure. Maybe this guy was a bad influence and he was just going with it. But at the end of the day, by him just going with it, now he is facing 4 counts of armed robbery. Your blessing is now down the drain, so you can sit in a jail cell for how many years? Because you decided to follow someone who say, yeah, do this, put the gun to his head. You have enough money. Just stop. Just leave it alone. Enjoy the barbecue. When you go to a cookout, you go to enjoy the barbecue. You go to enjoy the food. You go to enjoy the fun, the games. If you are that angry that you lost $70,000, stop. It's really not worth it. Unless you're trying to show off for someone. You already made it, okay? I don't know what else to tell you. You've already made it. You've already done, what you needed to do. You're taking care of yourself now. You don't want to see yourself revert or go into a situation that you don't want to be a part of. So I'm trying to understand why you would follow someone else's directions instead of thinking for yourself. Why would you allow your blessing to go down the drain? But before I get on to Dunbar, I'm trying to understand why Baker would say, yeah, let's rob them, as they leave out of a Lamborghini, a Mercedes-Benz, and a BMW. I'm not understanding. why. For right now, they said no arrests have been made, but I feel like these are blessings gone down the drain. Now they're going to sit in a jail cell and just remember the times that they played for remembering the times that they were in the NFL and remembering the times that they wore that jersey. They were on that field. They did that and they gave it all up because of their pride. They gave it all up for their reputation. One gave it all up because he wanted to listen to someone else. Now, keep in mind, we do not know who this third person was. It could have been a family member of one of the two, or it could have been another football player. I hope it wasn't another football player, but that's just some crazy news that I wanted to tell you. In this next crazy news, coming up after the break, we're going to talk about the stimulus check and if you are going to receive a stimulus check. But in the same breath, we're going to talk about a young man who has stolen a stimulus check from an elderly person right when we come back after this break. Stay tuned.
Always on the go, but the day just won't be one without your Hollywood fix. Let Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast take care of that. Jordan and Keith is Entertainment Tonight meets Access Hollywood.
I'm Jordan. The guy laughing, that's Keith.
Yeah, I'm Keith.
An all-inclusive look of pop culture.
Hey guys, welcome back. So before that break, we were talking about two NFL players who have an arrest warrant out for armed robbery. It's crazy because these guys are so talented and they're known for two well-off NFL teams, the Seahawks as well as the New York Giants, and how they have such a blessing in the palm of their hand and they're willing to let it all fall down so that they can live in a jail cell and essentially lose their career all over gambling. So for right now, I wanted to talk about the stimulus check and if you'll receive one or like how that's going to go. Also, I'm going to talk about a New Caney man who was arrested for stealing an elderly man's stimulus check. So first off, I wanted to talk about this elderly man whose stimulus check was stolen out of his mailbox. Law officials reportedly said that the check was found on a suspect that was walking through the Peach Creek Forest neighborhood located in New Caney, Texas. This past Wednesday, May 13th, at around 10 p.m. Police deputies from Montgomery County Precinct 4 searched Jason Corey Dunn, who was 23 years old, and found two checks that weren't his along with methamphetamine. One of those checks was the federal stimulus check for $1,200, while the other was from Lone Star College. Dunn allegedly told deputies that the stimulus check belonged to his cousin. The deputies then went to the address that was located on the check to find the elderly man that was patiently waiting for it to arrive. Constable Roddy Hayden said, quote, "He had been looking for it. He said the suspect did not have permission to have it, so we were going to place him in custody for narcotics, as well as stealing the elderly man's stimulus check." As of right now, the suspect is reportedly charged with a third-degree felony for the alleged theft of the stimulus check, along with The suspect is reportedly charged with a third-degree felony for the alleged theft of the stimulus check, along with a drug possession charge. And don't worry, you guys. Fortunately, the check was received and it was given back to the elderly man. I don't know how to feel about this. I feel like this is our third time dealing with someone that has tried to steal from people who are not as, I guess, people who are more vulnerable, the elderly. These people are stealing from them like left and right. Now, given this time, it wasn't someone who was a patient or someone who was suffering from the COVID-19. And this is great. This is honestly perfect that, they didn't have to deal with that. But still sad because this is an elderly man and you never know what he needed the stimulus check for. There's a lot of people who unfortunately have to depend on this stimulus check because of everything that's going around with the coronavirus. I also have to wonder, I don't have to wonder what this young man was possibly going to use it for. I mean, for goodness sake, he was caught with methamphetamine. So maybe he was using it for more methamphetamine, narcotics, as you can say. Or maybe he was possibly going to use it to do something else. I don't know. I'm trying to think positively on this case, okay? Maybe he was like, you know what? I can use this to turn my life around. Maybe. Just maybe. But now we're going to switch gears and talk about the stimulus check. If you have not received your stimulus check yet, do not worry. If you missed the IRS deadline for the stimulus check, here's how you can still get your stimulus check money. The IRS started sending out the coronavirus stimulus check payment to eligible United States residents around the middle of April, either in the mail or via direct deposit. But if you're among the group of people that haven't received the check by either method yet, it is now too late for you to submit your bank information. The IRS actually stopped accepting direct deposit information this week through the online portal as promised when the $2.2 trillion stimulus package was first announced. The deadline for taxpayers to submit their direct deposit form to the IRS was noon on May 13th. The good news is if you didn't make the deadline, you could still get a check. If you have filed your taxes in either 2018 or 2019 and received your refund via direct deposit, do nothing. You are good to go. You should still receive your check if you have gotten it in the mail. If you still filed in 2018 or 2019 but did not give the IRS direct deposit information, expect your payment in the mail. If your last tax return got deposited into a bank statement that's inactive now, your check will be mailed to your last address the IRS has on your file. Lastly, if you entered your bank information after Tuesday evening, but before noon Eastern time on Wednesday, your payment date should be available next Saturday, which is May 23rd. The IRS announced that they will be making payments through the rest of 2020, so keep an eye on those bank accounts and those mailboxes. I hope I helped you guys out with that stimulus check information. I know some of my friends were asking me about it. I was asking about it. So it was just good to check up on that. And I just wanted to pass along that information for those of you guys who are looking out for that stimulus check. Coming up right after this break, we're going to talk about Mamba's Sports Academy officially retiring Kobe Bryant's number. All of that coming up right after this break. Stay tuned.
The GSMC Life and Happiness podcast takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible. Download the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
All right, guys, we are here at the end of today's segment. We have went through so much, from Facebook buying the GIF company Jiffy and its plans to integrate it with Instagram, to it being the go-to social platform for news during the COVID-19, and especially and furthermore how a lot of people for the class of 2020 will be hosting graduations on Facebook Live. We also talked about how Oprah Winfrey and Ellen DeGeneres, two big-time talk show hosts, women talk show hosts, who are under fire for different things. Furthermore, having their reputation kind of tarnished and stuff that they kind of have to deal with being a celebrity, being someone who is so big, but sometimes their voice is often muted because of other people's speculations or conspiracy theories. We also talked about DeAndre Baker as well as Quentin Dunbar having an arrest warrant out for their alleged armed robbery. And we also talked about, having a stimulus check and what to look for if you did sign up for a stimulus check, as well as a young man who was going around stealing essentially people's stimulus check right from their mail, and how he pinpointed an elderly male. So if you guys have a stimulus check that is coming in the mail, be sure to really watch your mailboxes, because a lot of people, it's a hard time out here, but a lot of people are just doing the not so right thing, and they're taking people's payments through the mail. So be careful, you guys. Right now, I wanted to talk about Mamba Sports Academy retiring Kobe Bryant's name out of respect. So the Mamba Sports Academy, which is a joint venture between Kobe Bryant and Sports Academy CEO Chad Faulkner, will now change its name back to the Sports Academy. Mamba is, of course, part of the nickname Kobe gave himself, which is the Black Mamba. On Tuesday, May 12th, Faulkner told ESPN's The Undefeated that there can only be one Kobe, and that's what ultimately led to the decision to remove his name. He stated, quote, "Our beliefs and thoughts are Kobe is one of one. Mamba is one of one," end quote. The decision was mutual between TSA and Kobe Bryant's estate, according to TMZ. Faulkner said, quote, "And with that, as we carry on as the Sport Academy, it's more appropriate to put Kobe in another Hall of Fame, if you will, and to really respect a legacy that is really unrivaled, frankly, and let that live on its own. We will continue to do the work we do. We were fortunate to learn from Kobe. We will carry on much of those learnings that we have in a respectful way," end quote. The changes have already gone into effect. With the Sports Academy's new website changed to sportsacademy.us and social handles altered to @officialsportsacademy. Their full statement is posted on their Instagram. I like the fact that they are doing this out of respect for Kobe. But I feel like his legacy can still be a legacy by saying Mamba Sports Academy. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I never knew that it was Mamba Sports Academy. I only knew that it was a sports academy. So I think that in order to tell more about his legacy and why it's called Mamba Sports Academy, I think that you need to keep that Mamba in there. Now, I keep in mind and I understand that, they're saying that this is out of respect. But at the same time, in order for his legacy to be told to generations upon generations upon generations, and for his legacy to never be undone, because his legacy cannot go undone. But for other generations to know more about his legacy, I felt like they should have kept the Mamba in there. Now, do I understand why they did it? Yes. Do I feel like it should have happened? Personally, no. Unfortunately, it happened. So with that being said, that is the end of today's show. I would like to thank you for listening to the GSMC's Social Media News Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I would like to ask that you please remember to subscribe to the show and write a nice review, because that really helps us out. Also, be sure to follow us on all of our social media handles, including Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I would like to thank you, and I want you guys to have a good night, a good day, and everything in between. My name is Shamaria Jackson, and I am signing out. Bye, you guys.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Social Media Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.